In this video, I wanted to show how you could use AppScript to find all the files and folders in a Google Drive folder and list them with these following criteria here: parent, folder, name of file, date created, date updated, owner, URL to the file, and its ID. And more information if you wanted. This is the information I wanted to work with. The script, well, so if you're like me, I've got a drive. I've got a lot of folders, a lot of big things, a lot of folders full of a lot of folders. And I want to know what all the files are in here, maybe to use it to find out who owns the files and so forth. So what the script does, and this is the script, it has several functions in it. The first function creates the menu item so that you can run the script. The second function here opens a dialog box so you can enter the folder ID you want to catalog all the files in there. And the next three functions list the files and folders using that folder ID that you've just grabbed. And then we are taking and finding all the folders, all the files, and then appending them here at the bottom to the sheet, the active sheet that you have. So the way I would use this is simply go to my drive, and let's say I want to catalog this folder I have called Consulting Services. To get the folder ID of a folder in Google Drive, I'm in my drive, a folder called Snagit, and the folder ID is everything after folder slash. So in this case, it starts with the 1, ends with the C. Be careful when you copy this that you do not grab the slash. That would not be part of the ID. And then I want to come over here and list files and folders. Now, this is a new copy of the sheet. I haven't run it yet, so the very first time you run it, you're going to have to authorize the script. And your script authorization may look like this. It may look a little different depending on what version of Google Workspace you have. Now that script is authorized, I can run it. So I come here, list all files and folders. It pops up this dialog box. We paste that folder ID that we had copied, and we say OK. And now we just sit back and we wait while it's cataloging. And notice what it's doing. It's cataloging all these files, and it's showing me the parent folder, and then it's showing me all the files in there. So notice when we look back here, I had 2 files in the folder that weren't part of another folder, and you can see the parent's Consulting Services, the actual folder where it found files. It lists them, and then it's just going through and listing all of my different files in there with all that information. The way I set this up, the script's still running, so if we scroll down, we'll see it should still be running a few more. In a minute, when it's done, it'll quit running and we'll be finished with that. But you can see what I'm running here. I have a count in this formula here. I'm just counting everything here, so that's incrementing as the script is running. And I put that in there because I wanted to, whenever I run this, I wanted to show how many files it's actually finding in each one of these folders and subfolders. What I would do while this is still finishing, the script's still running, I would use this in multiple examples. Like, for example, this is my, well, I could see that this is my, I'm going to go ahead and copy that. That's the folder I'm referencing, so I could go ahead and paste that there. And that's this tab. Now, while this is running, the script still continue to run. I have a lot of stuff in there. I can add a new tab, or better yet, I think what I'll do is when this finishes, I would go ahead and duplicate this tab and then go find a different folder ID and catalog it, and then I could have this one sheet that would have all this stuff in there. So that script finally finished. Notice it was long, a lot of files in here, 592 files. So you can see all these different files that are in here. These ones that are PDFs, obviously, if I open them up, you can see that's actually a PDF file. One of the things you could add if you wanted to is you could have the file type. Notice I have that here in the script. I would just have to uncomment that and also then add a column in my up here to have the file type if that was something I needed. So again, I would then duplicate this simply like that. And then I'll change the name, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave this like this because the cool thing about the way this works, let me go find something that doesn't have quite as much stuff in it. So here's a small folder, just has a few things in it. So I'm going to get into that folder. I'm going to grab its ID, and that would be that. Copy it, come back to my sheet. Now notice I'm on a new sheet here. So if I run my files and folders, remember I think I pointed out the very first thing the script does is clear the sheet. So it's going to clear. I didn't really have to do anything else. And notice that's already finished. There's 4 files in there. Those happen to be PNG files. And if I open them up, it's going to just show me a picture of whatever the file might be. So this would be really handy if you wanted to get the URLs of a whole bunch of your, maybe you have a bunch of photos and you wanted to get the URLs to your photos. So then I could go, okay, this is this folder, so I could copy this, I could come down here and I could paste. And you could just keep going with this and catalog any folders that you found important. This is a great way to sort of get an idea what's in your drive and have it all in a sheet where I have a link with that I can actually open up my files and also see the owners. One of the reasons I built this, I had a client that wanted to find out who owned in a shared folder, who owned the file so they could work on changing the ownership. Well, this solves that problem.